Oh,
Mr. Lush.
Getting those gains, man.
Dekel pre-workout.
You even lift, bro?
Man.
Awesome.
Man.
That was a good one.
I told you, anything in that group chat throughout the week, that's on my radar. Whoever sends some stuff.
So that wasn't planned.
Yeah.
No, that's always a nice little surprise from Zach every week when he throws one of those little clips or photos in there.
You gotta be careful what you post during the week.
Hey,
Yeah.
the show KOTG, we run deep. We got some heavy hitters, man. You want to mess with us?
I was hoping that was live.
Yeah, we got the group chat starting to pick up too. Looks like who's in there? Homestead Lawn,
Papa
Lawn
Mo's
Radiance.
Low.
Yeah.
Lawn Radiance, yeah. What's up?
What's up, Olee?
The neighbor.
Jamie, the
What's up, dog? What's up?
Rooted Lawn Co's in. Good to see him again.
Rooted,
Homestead.
Cam, Lawn Radiance,
We got elevated
Jamie the accountant.
What's up, Cam?
Up New
Yeah,
York Lawn,
in the house.
Sugarland.
And Cody's back on the cast after
Yeah,
a little
welcome back.
paternity absence there.
Yeah, this is it. I'm excited. I'm very nervous, so take it easy on me.
Well, and we're ready to kick off a good show tonight. We got a great episode planned. We have Micah Gould and Austin Lazarone from Barenbrug. Micah is the market development manager, and Austin is the director of sales. So we're ready for all things grass seed and turf and grass industry and all kinds of great questions from us and from you. So make sure you're hopping in the live chat to ask those questions. We'll pull them in and throw them over to the guest to answer, and maybe even a few surprises later in the show too. So make sure you stick around for what's going to be a great episode 18 of the Keep Off the Grass livecast. So before we get into
18.
Before we get into that,
18 on the 18th, right?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
And always first things first, right? Grab a glass and keep off the grass. Go ahead, pop your White Claw there, Mr. Lowe.
he's got those Michelob Ultra light seltzers.
Those are so good.
What's up, Cody? Man, I've missed you, man.
Oh man,
I've missed you.
every time I see you guys jump on, I'm just like, man, I could be there, and then I get vomited on, and I'm just like, that's
He's not used to conversating with adults yet, so
yeah.
That's it's real life stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Love it.
It's Gary's night. Y'all see this? Look up.
Yeah, that's true. These are some sweet shirts,
yeah.
sweet hats.
That's some of the best stuff that our marketing team has come up with. So everybody loves those shirts. Everybody loves those shirts.
You
just
just
get
get
that one-
bubbly when it
that-
comes
yeah,
to this.
Where
David and Mark got a real sweet hat. I like that one. That maroon. Oh, and Cody too.
Yeah,
I like
My
that
mom
one.
and six.
little leather patch hats. Yeah.
Did you
Well,
guys
like
send one of those shirts to the turf nerd himself? He just broke 1,000 followers.
I think I need to.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like his actual name.
Yeah, if everybody could hit that like button. I see there's about 36 people in here. Only got 13 likes. Be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, just a quick announcement that we start off with, just so you guys know, those in the chat and those listening here on the podcast, we do have a website, kotg.live. Hop in there, check it out. We got all of our live streams, past live streams on there. We also have introductions to who we are. Cool little map that Sean made that tells us where we're at in the United States, so you guys can, group up with who's in your area and kind of follow us along and stuff. So KOTG.live, and then also Instagram is keep.off.the.grass.
Yeah, and from the
t-shirt, too.
website you can you could get the link to our nice collection of t-shirts that we
Nice.
have starting to pop up.
We don't always wear Barenbrug merch. We have our own. We appreciate Barenbrug merch.
Brent, we're twins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Oh yeah.
Ah, twins.
I would have worn mine too, but my washer shrunk it a little bit. Don't think you want to see that right now.
Taco Tuesdays.
Hey, that might have got some views. Come on now.
It's true.
I know I should have went for the 2X because this extra large is wearing me. I'm not wearing it.
Nice.
Size shirt, but have to get the medium size.
Medium.
Oh man, you're busting out.
Medium.
Who's wearing a medium?
Yeah. Get the medium, David.
God damn.
Come on, bro. I got the medium. Let's go.
It's medium. It's medium.
Well, we do have, our Micah and our Austin guests on, so we'll give them a chance to kind of introduce themselves too. So, Micah, do you want to give a little background about yourself and kind of how you got into the industry?
Yeah, no, I like everyone in the turf industry kind of starts somewhere different. I am no different in that sense. So I actually kind of started in, I was a high schooler who had no idea what he wanted to do. I went to school for sports medicine, law enforcement, kind of criminal justice background. And then out of the blue, like literally the week before I went to Oregon State University, heard about this turf management program and heard you could work on a golf course. You could have a dog like with you. Like those all sound awesome. I could be outside, and I literally like on orientation day, I switched. So kind of just jumped in the water, honestly. So went through Oregon State turf management program and ended up getting my master's as well in horticulture. So that's kind of the avenue I went. So with a main golf course background, doing a lot of research, some trials with a team there. Actually got into the golf course industry as assistant superintendent. But then got actually pulled into Barenbrug, just kind of, perfect timing, perfect storm kind of thing happening there. Back in grad school, I did some work with them, analyzing some data, kind of some seed history, some seed trends over time, looking at, fluctuations from perennial ryegrass to tall fescue, kind of where does that come out in the market year to year. And basically, just kind of fell into Barenbrug, and I've been here for 3 years now.
And what
Nice.
do you do at Barenbrug?
So I actually started out in product development. So kind of hand in hand from what I did in grad school, a lot of turf grass trials, working, analyzing data from NTEP, going out to other research centers or research sites and doing specific trials for products we're looking at, developing in the short term and long term. And that lasted for about 2 years. And now I'm in a new position, which is a little different, but still in marketing. So market development manager. I kind of assist the sales people around the country, kind of a turf expert and doing a whole bunch of different random things, honestly.
Nice.
More or
Well,
less, I like to tell Micah that my description of Micah is he writes novels to everybody else because he's so detail orientated. So much so, I asked for Cliff Notes because you ask for a sentence, he gives you a mile-long book. Intriguing reads for most, I will say, but Micah's my guy when it comes to for technical info and a long-winded conversation. So
I think some of the guys I work with on this podcast or livecast will probably have seen some of those emails I see. I'm like, if these guys are turf nerds like me, like I'm just gonna throw it all out there. So sorry, but not sorry.
it's all good. I like the reading material. So
Yep.
and then Austin, director of sales. How do you what's your background that got you into a position like that?
So when I started, I'm originally from Kentucky, so I'm a transplant over here in Oregon. But when I started college, I went to the University of Kentucky and I was an accounting major. And then for some reason, I thought I could do math. Didn't work out for me at all. Math is pretty difficult for me. So ended up, started working on a golf course there in my hometown and in Lexington, Kentucky, where I worked at. So got into plant soil science degree from University of Kentucky. So many, many years ago. And then I had an opportunity to jump into sales. So I worked for a distribution company out of Alpharetta, and I was serving them their territory in the state of Kentucky. So I was doing chemistry and fertilizer, making programs, doing the whole gambit that you guys are pretty used to, talking about with your customer base and end users. And then after that, I got an opportunity to move to Denver, Colorado. And I will say one thing, I'm pretty fortunate that a home is where you make it for me. And so, sticking back to my roots in Kentucky, it's fun, fantastic, but I like to see the world. I like to go adventure and see places. So ended up in Denver, Colorado for a few years as a fertilizer broker. And more or less, I was procuring ammonia and urea from production, domestic, international areas as well, and then bringing those back into the United States and basically transporting them throughout the United States. Main focus was co-ops, but ethanol plants up in the Midwest area there. So after that, I had an opportunity about 7 years ago to move to Oregon and start my official grass seed career. And then been with Barenbrug as a director of sales total for almost 2 years now. So it's been a long journey, but it's kind of interesting for me. It's been fun because I have been able to move across the country and then kind of go from there. But management wise, warm season, cool season, pretty much the whole gist of what we're talking to in the United States. So
nice. Well, thank you both for joining the episode tonight. And like I said, we're mostly planning like a Q&A kind of format. So questions from us, questions from the live chat. We'll throw them out there and kind of see where the discussion goes. But and first of all, thank you for recognizing Austin that math is stupid and pointless in real life. So I appreciate that. But while we're waiting for some questions to start to come in, one of the big kind of topics that people are talking about, especially now and going into the summer, and everybody kind of starting to think about fall, especially cool season folks, is the grass seed shortage that we're all kind of hearing about. So what do we as homeowners kind of need to understand what's happening, and what should we expect to happen over especially this year and then into the next couple of years?
Yeah, it's kind of a multifaceted answer, and I'll try to do my best to hit all areas fairly quickly. So there's a global grass seed shortage. There's a lot of issues going about through different species in the United States. So what's going on is that basically the retail segment of the business with COVID has been pretty extreme as far as growth goes. We've seen 25% on average for the most part, a year-over-year growth as soon as COVID started, because people are interested. They can't travel. So now they're doing new hobbies and everything else. You pick up new things when you can't leave the house. So fortunately enough, home projects have been it. That sector of the marketplace is huge revenue for everybody, and has been for quite some time now. So with that going on, there's been an increased demand within the grass seed business because people are buying more grass seed and they're more focused on renovations for their home lawns and things like that. So with that as well, retail takes a large piece of the pie as far as production goes out of the market segment. For us, we have two different sectors. We have a consumer products division, so big box stores for the most part. I'll sum that up pretty easily. And then a professional side. That's the side that Micah and I focus on, and our specialty items would be for forage, turf, and also export business along with wildlife. So in the grand scheme of things, a lot of things have happened this year. Scott's Miracle-Gro, they purchased a seed dealer called Columbia Seeds that were only in the professional turf market. They took out 16 plus million pounds of grass seed in the marketplace, just like this. So it's gone overnight. See you guys. We use it up in retail. And maybe getting a little bit too in depth, but at the end of the day here, that was a shortage. We were already short on perennial ryegrass production, clean quality perennial ryegrass. And so prices started to bump up and increase pretty rapidly as Scott's bought all that material out of the marketplace there. So as prices increased, then other individuals started going to more affordable species, tall fescue being one of those species, also turf type annual ryegrasses being another one there. And more or less just a whole scheme of price increases and people wanting to buy grass seed. As we sit today, we're getting ready to go through a new harvest cycle here in about a month now. We'll start harvesting annual ryegrass up here in the Pacific Northwest, mainly the Willamette Valley where Micah and I live. And the crops are a little bit iffy when it comes to that, because this has been a year that we're already slinging water in the fields, production fields in those areas there. When that happens this early, you're going to have some yield drags or yield loss percentage value wise. And also we've had some mice and vole damage in a lot of those areas on tall fescue and perennial ryegrass. So we're estimating some pretty good hits on yield. So it's speculation today, but I tell our customers, my sales team, that I get to be the negative Nancy, unfortunately, because there's not a lot of softening going on in the marketplace there, because there's a lot of demand and very, very little supply. So, and I can talk hours on that one, but I'll sum it up there for questions, and if Mike has any comments as well.
Talk hours, man.
No, I'd say Austin kind of comes in with like the negative Nancy stuff, and a lot of where I would come in then is, well, him too, but more of the positive look towards the future. But in years like this, it is kind of hard to get out of that almost, because that is the day to day. Everyone's just wondering, because for a lot of our end users, their job could be on the line. So it is very stressful, and that is a lot of their main worries right now. And there's not too much you can be like, hey, well, look at this cool thing. Well, that could be a year down the road or more. So
yeah, we've seen overseed seasons coming about for you guys in the southern U.S. And it's mainly on golf courses, LCO accounts, things like that. Your home lawns, those that are managing warm season turf. So interseeding is something that's kind of basic. It happens every year. It's actually percentage values gone down at how many homeowners are overseeding versus now using turf pigments or paints, as you would call that. But at the end of the day, that season's upon us. There's a lot of pressure on those superintendents, those LCO account managers, business owners, end users, what have you. They want lush. They want color in their yard in the off season. They want to have that, And so as we prep for that overseed season coming up, early August is really the big shipping time frame for us to prepare. A lot of people don't have options distributor wise. I will say that, because prices are really high, very, very expensive when it comes to that. So it's good and bad. We're having people come to us and say, hey, what do you have options wise? So we as Barenbrug are thinking outside the box, because again, we have to find solutions for people. That's kind of how we go to market. You've got a problem, Micah's going to solve it. I know that flowed really well, but we'll let Micah rap for us later on. So, but
We'll solve it.
that's a little before Micah's time. So, but we're trying to find the solutions out there, guys. And, the solutions are out there. You just got to be a little bit different. Just because you did it yesterday, or your dad did it, your grandpa did it, doesn't mean that's going to be the way you're going to do it today. You got to be successful. Being successful sometimes takes you to extremes, and got to think outside the box. So,
yeah, and I'd also frame it, and there's kind of two end users you could picture in our world. It's the distributor, and it's the actual end user who's using the seed. So a lot of this is kind of with the distributor level right now. So they're kind of running out first. Well, a lot of the people kind of maybe watching or listening to this live cast as well, they're the ultimate end user. So I get a lot of questions too right now. Like, oh, well, like your stuff is on Amazon or something. Well, our distributors actually kind of get first look in a sense. They're kind of the first check, I guess. So it's more of, we're supplying them versus we do a lot of direct sales sometimes. We haven't done it very much, just kind of got into that. But I would say for, quantity, quality, usually the distributor is the kind of that first, they get the first look. That's where we're having a lot of the shortages, and it's just a trickle down from there if we are going kind of direct. So that's where you'll kind of see we're probably not too much on Amazon or like those kind of websites. Maybe do my own as well, but if you're looking for seed and you're in a hurry, I would say contacting like some of our distributors would probably be the best bet. And we even have some that do supply or have their own websites and sell online. So that's usually where I'm kind of referencing people to.
And you mean the distributors that you can find like on your website, like on the main Barenbrug website?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's kind of a lot of info in there, but the main two ways to find one would be where to buy, and that would be all of our distributors, or like we have a buy now button as well, and that's more of like straight to a product. Where can I purchase that? Which it would take you to some of the websites, but yeah, that's a lot of people go that route. Is literally just walk into a distributor. But
yeah, and more or less, it's just be prepared. And I could say that to anybody. You know, preparation is the key to success here because, you know, knowledge is power. And I tell my team all the time, you got to share the information, guys and gals, because the thing is that, you know, we're not the only company that's dealing with a grass seed shortage, a crisis here, as we'll call that within our industry. You know, logistics has a lot of problems going on with that. The export market is out of control, absolutely out of control, because vessels are just being rolled. They're not going anywhere. And so there's seed sitting in the United States or seed sitting in other countries waiting to come here and everything else. But, you know, it's a very interesting struggle that I think all grass seed companies here in the Pacific Northwest are going to encounter and are encountering today. You know, we've been pretty fortunate and lucky. We went through an acquisition in October. We purchased Jacqueline Seed and brought them under the Barenbrug conglomerate, I guess we'll say, here in the United States. And, you know, they became our family because we've had that opportunity to purchase a company that has a great, fantastic historic legacy in the marketplace, especially on the golf side. Really, really large presence on the golf side. But it also adds to our genetic portfolio that we can offer you guys. And we really value that. But in the times of need right now, where the future is kind of like, what are we going to get for yields out here in Oregon? How much are we going to get per acre? What's tall fescue price is going to be? What are perennial ryegrass price is going to be? You know, we have the opportunity where we took two portfolios, merged them into one, and it created a whole lot of chaos for a lot of people in a very short amount of time through that, and especially through this crazy season. But at the end of the day, we're sitting fairly comfortable and we're able to have conversations with our customer base. Hey, here are your options. This is what we can do for you and everything else. And also the biggest option is going to be coated grass seed. And we have Yellow Jacket coated grass seed, which allows us to do a lot of things with a very small amount of inventory to still provide value to the end users and to our distribution partners, especially when price points are high. And it fits a niche market that Barenbrug's done a really good job with in the past, creating and marketing that brand. So
what is that Yellow Jacket coated seed? You know, what's the benefits of the coated seed?
I'll let Micah take this one.
I thought you would. So I'm actually on our like global seed enhancement group, as we call it in Barenbrug, with all of our opcos across the globe, kind of working on development, kind of in a uniform fashion. Regardless of that, our Yellow Jacket seed enhancement coating, the primary kind of benefit there is a water absorbency package it has. So that little image right there, I think it's probably around, I don't know, 5 to 8 years old or so. That's kind of more of our bent grass portfolio. But the main core ingredient is the super absorbent. So holding water in very dry environments, which often happens to be overseeding. A lot of the LCO homeowners that we run into, a lot of the problems are like, oh, well, the grass didn't germinate. A lot of the times it's, you know, how much did you water? You start to dig down. That's kind of the core problem. So it really solves that issue and literally just not having to worry about it as much in the summer months. Also has a fungicide package with Apron XL. So with, I think that's methanoxanum is the active ingredient there. So with that kind of water absorbency as well as fungicide, that strategy beyond just holding water is shortening or expanding the seeding window by being able to plant later in, you know, instead of early fall, late summer, sometimes right in the middle of summer. So that's also a strategy in kind of keeping your turf stand clean. So if you can avoid the season of POA, having to worry about, I got to get my Tenacity or Mesotrione app down with my seed, which I would still kind of recommend. It just gives the turf manager a few more options. Other things as well, it does have a little fertility package in there, a bunch of micros, I believe phosphorus, some potassium. I don't know how much nitrogen is in there, but that's kind of included. And thankfully, we jumped on the yellow colorant. Obviously, it's like the Barenbrug yellow. Some of the seed coatings you would probably notice, depending on your soil type as well. Can be kind of camouflage in there, especially raw seed. So, it's not the biggest benefit, but it's just another little thing where you see
Makes it
that
visible.
you're not worrying about, oh no, if there's a skip in my yard now, I have to go back in, fill that, and it's not the same.
That's pretty
Age
good. You
and
can
or
see
seed.
coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Does that coating raise your germination percentage? I guess like
It
some
really
stuff like
depends.
85% and some's 90.
So the way I kind of always refer to it is it's in like a good insurance policy. So if you're the professional, or if you're a lot of us here during COVID being able to just go out in my yard, check it every hour, literally just hand watering if I needed to, you might not need that. But if you are in those scenarios where you forgot to water it or you overwatered it and possibly have dampening off diseases, that's kind of the situation where you might lose potentially up to 50% of the seed in a negative, event like that, drought or disease, where that seed coating would then buffer that and increase that germination. So we get a lot of end users saying, hey, like I noticed it like germed faster or increased germ. It will in some scenarios, but that's not like, the bulletproof coating is doing this to everything. And that's why we all actually work as a global entity, is trying to find, more surefire ingredients or products that we can put in coating onto seeds and provide even better benefits.
So once it's coated like that, do you recommend less seed in a square foot than you would a non-coated? A lot of times overseeding is say 5 pounds to the 1,000 and bare dirt's 8 pounds to the 1,000. If it's coated like that, do you drop that back some?
So
I
go for it.
I'll stick with consistent seeding rates, guys. And to kind of sum it up, the biggest thing is that we may know how to manage water. Okay. At the end of the day, not everybody knows how to manage their water or have access to water. The coated versus non-coated battle has been going on for a long period of time. I've sold against it. You guys have probably sold against it or heard somebody sell you against coated grass seed. There's a market for everything when it comes to that. When you're talking bare ground, I'm looking for, if it's a new site, I want raw grass seed to go out there. And the reason being is because I want that density. 8 pounds per 1,000, throw it out in there. You're going to be working it in the soil and everything else. And you're going to be more focused on keeping the moisture in the soil so your viability is there. So when you're looking for just an interseed method, you've already got established turf in there. Let's talk cool season, for example. When you're up in cool season markets there and you're interseeding, you've already got established turf. Yellow Jacket's a good product there because you can actually visibly see it. Your customers, your homeowners, they can see what you're doing there. We're adding that Azuba, which is a water absorbent agent, on there too. So because guess what? I'm an expert. I can water yards. I know what I'm doing, guys, but I only water at 3 o'clock every night. That's all that I water. And that's a consistent statement because that's a lot of beliefs. Water early in the morning, you're going to be perfect. That's not the actual case. Come on. Humidity takes effect there. There's a lot of factors that go into play. If the wind's blowing, guess what? You missed half your yard. Sorry, guys. You become responsible at that point in time. So what Yellow Jacket does is that it helps increase that time frame, that if you miss something, if you forget something, at least you're going to have a little bit added protection when it comes into that. Most of the time when we're seeding, guys, you're doing in August, September, disease is rampant. I'm still watering like crazy because I don't know how to water properly, just for an example. So It does have that fit and it has that void, but I always stick with, if you're looking for extreme density on a new playing surface or new area, home lawn, golf course, what have you, raw seed is a good fit there because we want that dense turf. In the overseed market there, you're going to bump up your seeding rates because density is key. We're just trying to increase the viability of that specific grass seed, that seedling, to make sure that it's going to survive as long as it possibly can until us turf guys, we kill it with something dumb because we're going to do it, so.
Well, and I also think a big, important, like critical factor here is, what do you guys see establishment complete? Do you see establishment as, is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it a year? Is it more than that? On a sod farm, establishment is when, they're actually sod cutting this, delivering it to the homeowner. So they're, like Austin's describing, they absolutely need every plant per, square of whatever area to be there for the sod tensile strength, to be full, to get that full lawn look. Now, if you're talking, if I look at establishment truly as, a year plus, because I'm looking for it to not only fill out the soil profile with the roots and everything, but to really fill out and anchor itself and root deep. When you look at that, we do have trials where we show, using half the seed from yellow jacket or seed enhancement to a raw seed, it's sometimes the same, if not even better in some scenarios, depending on the region, other stresses. So like with that fungicide and combination with fertilizer and the right conditions, you can have, the same or even better performance in the long run. Just depends on, what are your needs. Do you need that thing up and firing in 2-3 months? Then your strategy should probably shift a little bit.
Olee, did we answer your question? Sorry, we kind of got off on a tangent there.
Yeah, man. I'm learning. I'm listening. I'm being a yellow coated seed right now. I'm soaking it in.
I gotta say, this is like just a Barenbrug, distributor event right now. Like, this is what you would get anytime Austin and I would go.
I got some questions for you guys. They're not necessarily just directly to you guys. I'm kind of curious. You guys were talking about, the yields this year, and obviously we've heard from a lot of people particularly on perennial ryegrass. I know that local distributors here for your products, actually for both the Turf Star RPR and the RPR and your RTF product. The distributor I have out here in Iowa that carries a ton of it, they don't have any. In the last year, we've had you guys with Jacqueline Seed, Mountain View Seeds with Landmark. Obviously, you guys touched on Columbia with Scott's. Do you guys anticipate, just from kind of an economies of scale perspective, that there'll be continued consolidation in the industry? And, with there being some consolidation for us that are retail customers, how will that impact us as far as maybe product variety, offering, pricing, or will we see any impact from that in the future?
Yeah, it's a good set of questions there. So I'll talk a little bit about consolidation. So, when it comes to that, the grass seed industry is a very experienced industry, as I say. There's a lot of individuals that started their career, that cut their teeth in this business back in the day, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, what have you. Micah is going to be the early 2000s because he's the baby of the group here. But, grand scheme of things is that those individuals that started it back in the day, that's their businesses. And they went through the ABT days where, they were probably bought and then sold again through bankruptcy, what have you. A lot of their varieties were still existing in the marketplace today through one acquisition or another. But, those individuals, they're getting that age to where they hopefully would like to retire or they need to retire, what have you. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible here, but, at some point in time, we all got to hang it up. You got to pass that legacy down that you created and to the next generation. So we have a gap in our industry of those experts that want to be the next owners of companies and stuff like that. So you will see more consolidation for sure, without a doubt, because those individuals, they're going to retire. And guys, if you're listening out there, I hope you do retire because it leads the way for the new of the new. And for us younger guys that, we're aggressive. We want to learn from you and we want to learn how you went to market and everything else. But there's a lot of new things happening here, and we're excited to be a part of the industry and during this time frame. So those consolidation impacts wise, they're going to be huge. One thing from a genetic standpoint, variety name standpoint, let's put it this way. When we were fortunate enough to acquire Jacqueline, we took, let's just say, I'm just throwing a number out there, but we took 25 different varieties that we have on the turf side with Barenbrug, and we more than doubled them with the Jacqueline side. So from a production standpoint, guys, it's not viable for me to have 50 different varieties, half of those being bluegrass varieties, and say, Mr. Farmer, I need you to grow 200,000 pounds of this, 500,000 pounds of this. Oh, this is a small one because it's a midnight type. Just give me 50,000 pounds. That's not viable. Nobody's going to do that. So you're going to see varieties go away as companies consolidate together. It's natural science there. So, but those impacts are going to be fairly great because you're going to see those companies, those big companies, the Barenbrugs, the Mountain Views, the DLFs, you're going to see those have the opportunities to say, Mr. Grassseed Man, I'd like to buy your company from you. Here's the cash that I have. Are you interested in moving on? So it's going to change the landscape pretty drastically when it comes to that.
And what else do you guys see as kind of being, the next thing for grass seed, especially, coming to the retail market and even the high end, users like us that are kind of going to distributors for grass seed instead of, looking at somewhere like Home Depot or something like that. What do you think is next for, what's next for grass seed?
That's a fun one.
I mean, don't you guys sell your stuff at Home Depot? Don't you guys make the Home Depot brand? Speaking of Home Depot.
Right.
Our consumer products division, they do majority of the business majority, if not all of the business for Home Depot. So, when it comes to that, it's a different market strategy, guys. For us, if I say one thing, I take a dump on them. If I say another thing, I don't say enough. So I'm going to be politically correct here and say that, yes, we do supply them. However, the deal is it's kind of what you're after. If you want that step-by-step process and that service level, you're going to get it through distribution. Our partners across the United States, and I will say all distribution partners, whether they deal business with us or not, they have your best interest at heart. And if they don't, go somewhere else. It's real simple. Go somewhere else. Because I guess what? Somebody will find you and they will hug you. They will kiss you. They'll do whatever it takes to get your business and educate you in the process. So, the Home Depots of the world, the Lowe's of the world, it's big bulk business. But at the end of the day, we want something that we all like to be helped with. We all like to be educated. And distributors bring that approach to all of us, even end users. Micah does a lot of time just talking to end users. And I know he's talking to a homeowner, and I always get up into his ear and I say, Micah, what do you want for lunch? Micah, what are you talking about? Just tell him to use 1616, bro. You can do it. It's so much fun for me because, that's kind of the love of the game.
It's not for me. I can't multitask, and he starts doing that like poor homeowners on the phone with me.
Well, we like to have a good time with it, guys. But, Home Depot, again, I always say that, you look at what you buy. Okay. So you can get good quality from Home Depot, but you're not going to have the service there. So I'm not sure if I answered that question or not.
Yeah, you did. And I didn't mean to, look down on Home Depot because, what the water saver that you guys put in there, like is the brand is RTF, right? And just Turf Saver is RTF as well. Just a different sort of, level of product. It's great to have the options. Some of us, like I went to the distributor, across town last year to get my RTF for my overseeding that I did. Where my brother-in-law, I sent him to Home Depot to get the water saver RTF since he could get it there. They didn't have a distributor nearby, so it's good to have those options. But kind of thinking about in the next few years, you mentioned a little earlier too about, kind of thinking through new solutions to problems, and just kind of wondering what are you guys starting to see emerge as those solutions that we could kind of expect to see too?
Yeah, things that you will expect to see. This is going to be for distribution and also in the retail world, consumer products or Home Depot world. When you come to that, you're going to see a difference in formulations, because as we all want to be as competitive as possible, because at the end of the day, we hope that price is one of the objectives that makes you a buyer of that product. And we hope that's number 3 when it comes to that. You got the service aspect, you got genetic quality. Okay. And then you've got a price point as well. So the thing is that you're going to see your traditional formulations. If you're buying at, let's just say, an 80% tall fescue, 20% perennial ryegrass blend or mixture from distributor or store, you may see that perennial ryegrass percentage value shrink ever so slightly. Reason being is because perennial ryegrass is up here, tall fescue's kind of in that middle realm right now. So when that occurs, you're going to see some varied results. Is it a bad thing? Not necessarily. But the thing is that that's the solution to a shortage issue that we have across the globe. And that's going to be probably the biggest change that you do see from a genetic standpoint. Again, there's new varieties coming out every single year. It takes a long time to produce a new variety from conception to completion, because you're talking about the research end. Let's talk about Micah's end and more in depth from there. But then you have to talk about the grower level side too, because that's another step in the process of evolution of, hey, we're not ready to go to market until then we have production acres being produced. So we've got new varieties coming out every single year. So do our competitors too. When it comes down to it, the main discussion now is yield on the research side, because if a product can't yield to Mr. Grower here in Oregon, they're just not going to grow it, because at the end of the day, that's their revenue. That's how it works. So,
yeah, we do a lot of work, kind of on the marketing side, seeing exactly what end users are needing, wanting, what are the pain points that you guys are really feeling. So, we do play a part in NTEP. We kind of like what Austin's alluding to. We do straights, but you'll probably see a lot of our products or brands being blends or mixtures. So, with that strategy, we're really trying to be as customer centric as possible. So a lot of those solutions being blends, mixtures, our first step in the whole kind of process, which might be someone's end line or end goal, would be a straight variety. So in product development, I'd be taking a collection of things, mixing, a bunch of iterations or permutations of these combinations to try and really dig deep, which is pretty hard to find, but try and find some synergistic effects between varieties. So, it's not really as well known, but we have some Green Earth products where it's really trying to key in on, the best possible product for this one solution. Maybe it's literally just drought tolerance, and that's all I care about because I want to save as much water as I can. We're designing a product for that solution or for that problem. Same thing goes for many other problems that we, find through market research or just, traditional experience we have on the sales team working with end users. But to that as well, like Austin mentioned, yield and the production cost. I mean, I can't really say, but we have a whole bunch of things on the shelf that could be products ready to go, but they don't really make sense yet. They don't maybe yield enough, or their true value to the end user isn't quite there where it would make sense. We often get a lot of questions about some of those products, like, why don't you have Glyry? Like, I want this stuff. Like, well, I mean, it might not make sense just environmentally or some other reasons, but it might just not make sense economically to the end user itself or anyone on this planet. But
yeah,
that's where I think Barenbrug is a little unique, is we try to, go to lengths in finding unique solutions, even if that might not be grass seed. So
nice. Well, I think we should maybe take a pause for a second, and if we need to get a little drink, you can do that. And we have something we like to do every week. Our new keep off the grass lawn of the week. So, Zach, are you ready to head down that road?
Yeah, sure. I'll kick it over to Brian if he wants to talk a little about it. I will say this week was the toughest week we have had choosing a lawn. I mean, we actually got in a little bit of fights about it. I mean, Lush had to bust out the lifting videos to let us know, like, hey, man, don't mess with my choice. But there was a lot of good entries this week. And yeah, it was a really tough call. But I'll kick it over to Brian for this.
Yeah, that's what that video was all about. Was Mr.
Oh
Lush
my God.
putting his foot down and said, "Hey, this is what we're doing." But hey guys, yeah, I mean, tough week. You guys have some amazing lawns right now. Shout out to everybody who's tagging KOTG Lawn of the Week. We appreciate that. We're all watching and looking. We had some, and then we had some others, and then we went with another route. But we settled for this week. We've selected Cam of Elevated Lawn with his amazing.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, Cam.
He came
about
in
some
hot with
stripes.
this one.
Yeah, that it's looking dark. Nice contrast. I mean,
I told him this week, I said, man, you're making me look foolish, bro.
so keep tagging that KOTG Lawn of the Week. That's we're all following the tag pretty much, and we're looking at it. And even these last minute entries, like these last couple of days, we had, a good amount of entries these past few days. So keep them up. It's awesome. This was a really tough call this week. Shout out to Cam at Elevated Lawnscapes. Go give him a follow on Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah, he's got some great content.
Heck
So
yeah.
will we see him drinking any Bud Light or Bush the next few days?
Yeah, I know he's got some big shoes to fill with drunk lawn guy and oh my dear lawn. They were wearing some crowns these past couple weeks, so
I think they're wanting them back. That's the thing. So
yeah,
That's what can you still get them crowns at Burger King?
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, a drunk lawn guy made his own crown, right? Didn't he make a?
It is on him.
yeah, that's awesome. So yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Congrats,
Cam, you
Tag him up
killed
this
it
week.
this week, man. Yeah.
Crush it.
Everybody else, keep them up, man. Like I said, you're making our jobs tougher every week when we have to paper, rock, scissor, or fight about it, or Mr. Lush has to break out those videos. So
Yeah, and we know the warm season grasses are just starting to pick up a lot of steam too. So we haven't forgot about that. So
yeah,
we see
Don't
Cody
forget.
getting his green lawn bouncing back now too. So
Where's
we're
Cam?
looking.
It's getting there. It's
Maryland?
getting
Is he in Maryland, Cam?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
Might be near you, Sean.
I don't know if any of y'all having trouble. I keep having to hit mine keeps saying something went wrong, tap to retry. Any of y'all seeing that?
yeah, I've had that
My
a couple
life.
times on
I think my
YouTube.
camera's frozen.
Yeah. Well,
I got
we
a
appreciate.
quick question if I can ask.
Yeah.
On tall fescue, how long does it take for the grass seed to mature to where it will germinate? I was told 40 days, but
Like vernalizing, like after it's harvested and
no,
ready to go?
like
Or-
just for instance, when I first started messing out here, when I first bought grass seed, I was like, God dang, man, this shit's high, and I got to thinking that, hey, I'll let it grow up. I'll let it seed out and place look like a jungle and let it overseed itself. But you hear a lot of people say the seed's sterile. But then I've been told also that if I let it go out there, do that deal, it has to be like 40 days old or something. And I didn't know basically what's the timeline like for y'all to harvest.
I would say when you're mowing your lawn, you got a little bit of POA,
Mhm.
and that POA starts to grow and spread. It's probably coming from the seed. So even though, I mean, the highly, chance of our tall fescues or a ryegrass, whatever the grass is, bluegrass, very probably small chance. A lot of it would be, fertile, like ready to go. But I mean, weed seeds are definitely more prone to having a high germination in that scenario. But
I mean the actual fescue. I don't mean like weeds or nothing. I mean like the actual fescue. Like I got a couple clumps that I'm just letting them go like off to the side, and I'm letting them go, and they're seed headed and all. And I was just thinking, is that seed sterile, or is it, would it germinate if it was so old?
Yeah, I'm not a production expert by no means. I can explain what happens out here, if that may help a little bit, Olee. So, from our standpoint here in Oregon, we tend to have very moist fall, winter, springs.
That's what she said.
I was waiting on that one to come. So
gotcha.
There's liquid flying in the air for 3 seasons of the year. So for us in the summertime, we break off and it becomes zero rain for the most part. It's very unlikely we get any showers whatsoever. Typically that starts happening, let's just say the end of May through probably October is a little bit rough, but September timeframe, just use that as an example. So when it turns off, every grass seed goes into the stage where it starts producing seed heads. Then pollination happens. There'll be times when I'm driving to work and I take back roads the whole way to work. It's on farmland. And the deal is that you see nothing but a fog sitting over the tall fescue or annual ryegrass. And that's more or less, that's that crop pollinating.
Okay? So that's where the yellow jacket comes from.
It comes from limestone as a carrier, but we could talk more about that if you'd like to. So, but from that standpoint, though, after it pollinates at that point in time, at some point in time, the grower says, and he talks to our production team, also his distributor that he's using out here to help him with his crop management. Very similar to the corn markets for you guys in the Midwest. They all have advisors that come in and they talk to them about when's the best time to do X, Y, and Z. So they have that too. So at that point in time, the farmer decides he's going to harvest that crop. Combine comes out, bam, bam, bam. Then they let it dry down. The uniqueness that we have in Oregon is that with the low moisture, no humidity for the most part whatsoever, we don't have to use propane as a dry down agent. So in the Midwest, propane's a big user for corn to dry it down to a specific moisture content. For us, it's the same concept, just different species, obviously, but we don't have to worry about having that propane to dry it down to a specific percentage value. So it then can go into the cleaners there. So again, I'm not an expert when it comes to production. I understand the cycles, but I would say that it's going to look pretty when it goes dormant, Olee. Seed heads flapping in the wind. Even if you got 5 of them and that's all you got, take a picture of it, watch it blow in the breeze at night, have a beer next to it. I'm not sure you're going to get any seed to germ out of it, but that's a crapshoot guess for me. So,
all right.
You're not even.
I didn't know. I've got mixed conceptions, or whatever, and I didn't know. I mean, like I say, in the beginning, I thought I'd just let it grow up, let it seed out, let it fall, place look like a jungle, and not buy grass seed. Now I just buy grass seed.
I would say just buy grass seed as well. But, again, you could have success with that. But I think your percentage values of success are probably so minimal that, you're just going to have a nice lawn ornament flapping in the breeze when it starts going into the boot stage and heading out. So,
yeah. And some of us don't live out on the country like you, Olee. Can't, we got neighborhood, HOA things to worry about. We can't have a big, tall fescue lawn like that.
I ain't got to worry about that.
Just say it's ornamental.
My goal next year is maybe to keep it from seeding less, because like right now it just went through trying to seed head real hard and it looks rough, because all the stalks.
Yep.
So
no, and that's understandable. That's kind of, it's kind of like zoysia when it's coming out. It starts to get that stalks that grow up there. You can't mow them down with a fairway unit by no means. So it can be an eyesore for sure. But again, consistency with your mowing always equals success there. So
and fertilization and irrigation, the 3.
Yes, sir.
But Olee, I will say, listen, if you live in the country, let it grow up. Let it blow in the wind. when it goes into that browning dormancy stage, it's absolutely beautiful when you've got a nice thick lush stand there flapping in the breeze there. So
see, Austin's
I
further
love it.
along in his career. He's probably thinking about retirement more than me. I want to utilize my grass or show off to my neighbors.
Hey, so speaking of that, what's your guys' lawns look like? You guys take care of your own personal home lawns?
Oh, yeah.
I want to know about your home lawns and what you got in it, what you do to it.
Green manage it or?
Well, I've killed more grass than I've actually successfully been able to grow. So my take on that. So last year I bought about methylene urea. So actually urea formaldehyde, I bought it from a local distributor here. And up here in the Pacific Northwest, we don't really get too warm enough to where you can utilize the microbial activities that Nitroform is the brand name that you call it. So I put about 16 pounds of N down at one point in time. I'm lazy when it comes to this. I want to wham bam, thank you, man, be done with it. So I put it down and I mow 2 times a week. I double cut every time I mow. I stripe the shit out of my property. And then I tend to show pictures over to Micah as well, just to make him jealous because he doesn't stripe. So
That's awesome.
Nah,
I love it.
my front yard, I'm kind of more of the super fine texture, soft to the feet. So I've got our Shade Savant product. It's like a fine fescue perennial ryegrass mixture, which could be drought tolerant if it needs to be. But for that, I tend to be, I only 1 to 2 pounds of nitrogen per thousand per year. I only mow once a week because it's also very low growing, slow growing rate with fine fescues and ryegrasses, very fine textured. So not much, organic matter coming out of it, or I just mulch it back in the backyard. It's kind of my two, like you guys want to experiment and do different things, business in the front, party in the back. And the back is more of my test out, because we have this unique access working for Barenbrug. My wife hates it because I'm always killing my lawn. Okay, try this next thing. I'm already talking about redoing the front yard. She's like, no, I haven't even enjoyed it for a year. So in the backyard, I'm going with one of our newest and highest performing tall fescues. So I'll probably be going with that. I think a little bit of bonfire and one of our newer RTF types. So kind of a makeshift product development type thing for RTF back there.
Awesome.
And mow it low.
That's awesome.
And speaking of RTF, and for everybody that's kind of stuck with us through, I guess there's some technical difficulties kind of popping up on the stream and on the YouTube site itself. So thanks everyone that's stuck around. And if you're still around in the chat, we got a nice little giveaway for everybody. So we have up for grabs a winner's choice bag of grass seed. So it could be a 50-pound bag of the Turf Saver RTF, the fescue, 50-pound bag of the Turf Star RPR, the regenerating perennial ryegrass, if available, and then the 10-pound bag of the Turf Blue bluegrass product. So we're going to do a giveaway. So go ahead and what do we want to have them enter in the chat?
Hold on real quick. I'm going to jump off of here and join the chat so I can be eligible for this too. So
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, this is a really
this
nice,
is awesome, guys.
really
We
nice
appreciate
giveaway.
it.
Yeah.
Great giveaway. Yeah. What should we have them do this week?
What do we think? Seed?
What'd you say?
Seed?
Yellow
There we go.
coating.
Or
Penetrate
Yellow.
the soil.
Let's do seed. It goes along with moist, and I think we had nuts one of the times. So we'll jump in. So everybody on the live chat, if you can hear this,
Lay it down.
type in seed to be entered into the Barenbrug giveaway. And then we can just keep talking while they type in their responses.
Oh, somebody
Thank
said
you.
the give it cut out. So
It
it's
keeps messing up.
Yeah, we got a winner's choice grass seed giveaway. So it'll be a 50-pound bag of the Turf Saver RTF, 50-pound bag of the Turf Star RPR, or a 10-pound bag of the Turf Blue bluegrass. I can't get a 50-pound bag of the bluegrass. It's that'll be too nice of a giveaway to do. We'd have to mortgage my house to pay for a 50-pound bag of bluegrass seed.
Hey, so regarding while people are typing that in, regarding a couple questions we got on our social medias, I know some other people got some too, but I got one about if there's any glyphosate tolerant grass types that you guys are producing. I know they're probably referring to the Pro Vista, but it's a question I received, and I also received a question about salt tolerant or dog urine tolerant grass types.
Right.
So yeah,
please.
I'll stick to the dog urine with Micah there. We'll let him get nerdy and scientific on you. So as far as the glyphosate tolerance, it's an interesting topic because, the way that I look at it is risk management, okay, from a sales standpoint and everything else. Because at the end of the day, my sales team, they're responsible for, talking the talk, educating, along with our marketing team as well. But we want to make sure we have a quality product that is viable, that's sustainable, that's fantastic for anybody to use, okay? So there are a few different instances here. Let's talk about Roundup Ready style tall fescue, for example. Okay, fantastic idea, love it. However, the impacts of producing Roundup anything in the state of Oregon, Washington, Pacific Northwest, if we produce any of that crop, let's just say it's tall fescue for an example, I then can't sell any crop to Europe because GMOs are banned. Okay, a lot of people, you got to think on a global approach here because, again, I'm the negative Nancy of the group. So the scenario is that if I produce something, it potentially gets cross-contaminated. Europe's no GMOs, bro. That's what they talk. That's what they want. They want authenticity when it comes to that. So as we talk about that, that's a big, big no-no when it comes to a global production scale, because we do a lot of movements, a lot of exports into Europe as well. From glyphosate tolerant, that have a little bit of tolerance to glyphosate. Tall fescues do have, naturally, they have some tolerance to tall fescues, to Roundup, or glyphosate. Naturally, you can go low rates. Not sure of those rates exactly, but I think, at the end of the day, you hit something very lightly on tall fescue, you'll ding it, it'll come back out. We actually have a product called Gly Rye, and that's a branded product on the Jacqueline side that we actually procured from them through the acquisition here back in October. Fantastic idea. We have clubs, high-end clubs, low-end clubs that use that product. From my standpoint, from a liability standpoint, guys, it's too risky because at the end of the day, if I'm making a claim that Mr. Superintendent or Mr. Homeowner, you can go out there and you could spray 16 ounces an acre of glyphosate, let's just say, and still have plant life left over. What happens if I don't? I end up buying properties. I end up buying sod. There's a lot of risk involved in that. So that's my take on that. So we do have some of those opportunities. However, from a liability standpoint, we've chosen as a company to kind of back away from that because there's so much risk involved.
Everyone saw how that ended up with GMO bent grass or Roundup Ready bent grass. Kind of the worst case scenario of that whole lineage of genetics, you could say.
Yep. It's just like Olee, if you had that in your property, you let it grow up to seed head, it did cross contaminate, it got put on a truck somewhere, went into your neighbor's property, you're then liable at that point in time if something were to happen. So I'm going to let Micah put a positive spin on dog pee because I know he's got something funny to say about it, because I'm just bringing down the crowd here with my realism.
It took my the Basset Hound, that's my wife's dog that was living with my mother-in-law. It took a full year of having said Basset Hound to prove the point, I think, of, hey, look, this is what true dog urine will do to a grass. Because it's kind of hard to tell, is at a dog spot sometimes, especially with the little Lhasa Apso versus a bigger Basset. Well, this dog pees in the same spot and just annihilated half of my yard in that little area. So there's not much you can do sometimes, I would say, other than, treat it almost like affluent irrigation or saltwater accumulation. Push that thing through as fast as you can after they're done doing their business. Otherwise, just people, dog owners don't like my, pretty cynical answer of, well, get rid of the dog if you want your yard to be perfect. That's not the answer.
We said that this week in our group chat. We said that to Brian. We were like, well, maybe you just got to get rid of your dog, bro.
I'll tell you what, and the problem is it went over through winter time, the grass was covered in snow, so it would snow and then it would melt and snow and melt, and so as soon as it finally melted and it started growing, it's bad. I've got so many spots that I almost have to redo my backyard. I don't have a very big yard, but I'm going to have to redo the entire backyard and overseed it with something that is more tolerant, because I have Kentucky bluegrass, something that's a little bit more tolerant than that. So I heard maybe fescue grass is a little more tolerant to urine, I guess.
We often get that a lot from our end users who just swear by like the Turf Saver RTF, or when they plant it as sod. It, I think, has a little bit more tolerance to that, high concentrated, ammonia just spot in general that's taking it a little bit. But with the RTF, is kind of a slower fill in, but at least has the option to do so. It's kind of combating it with a little bit of tolerance and a little bit of rejuvenation to at least have as best of a fill in as possible, instead of, maybe a less tolerant grass like bluegrass, even though it has really strong rhizomes, it's just getting beat super fast. So it's like a little bit of both worlds. You kind of want the bounce back as well as a tolerance. But yeah, I'd say, I haven't heard or seen too many scientific articles like showing this phenomena, but I do hear anecdotally as well that fescue seems to do a bit better than bluegrass, and ryegrass is probably somewhere in the middle, but yeah, it's one of those, haven't seen too much on it, but
Hey, I do have one question, guys. Sean, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead, Austin.
So I think there's an individual that's asking questions. He wants an answer. Super TA, I think that's his name. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm happy to. He's come up in quite a different conversations, I guess. So, what's the question? Let's help. Let's talk it out.
That's what I'm saying. Let's get a fully formulated question, fully formulated issue, and bring it to the table, because all I hear is a lot of bitching, and I don't have any tolerance or time for that.
I'm not seeing what the comments are by no means.
And here's the thing. Some people, some people in the chat, some people, all the guys on the show, some people in the chat know what I'm about. They know what I do for work and for my real life. And let's cut to the chase, my man. Like, what's it about?
Yep. Formulate the questions, guys. I'm not on YouTube. I'm not that advanced, but however, I will say that ask the question, because if we don't know it, we'll find the answer pretty quickly, because there's a lot of smart individuals, not only on this podcast, but also on the interweb or internet or whatever you kids call it these days. So let's have a good time with it, folks.
I know he said that he'd bought some seed on Amazon.
Yeah,
and had a problem with germination.
Yeah, I think it was a couple parts, part germination, part like weed content on the bag, which part of that weed analysis that kind of comes up in kind of my comment with, straight from a distributor versus direct through Amazon. The product, I picture of it like a pyramid. There's only so much sod quality at the very tip top, and none of us, are really able to get that. That's kind of like the sod farm, or maybe a little higher a higher notable course that might be getting that has hosts majors and stuff. But at the bottom, it's just like a trickle down. So if our distributor is getting a little bit earlier access than straight to a direct consumer, might be a little, not saying it's going to be bad, but it might be a little different on the seed label analysis. And I also get a crack up in terms of just looking at the weed content issue alone. You always see this 99.9%, weed free. Same thing kind of with, well, not really, but thinking of the, coronavirus times with, bacteria killing kind of percentage. That has nothing to do with other crop. That has to do with the weed seed. So it might be, 0.1 weed seed or less, but the other crop is some other component. But as Austin will probably gonna go down through.
Tell us right quick what other crop is. Like poetry of.
Well, that's going to be rough stock bluegrass. So, other crops generally in speaking in your all's world is going to be annual ryegrass. So, and I'm sure you guys, you've had a lot of guests on the show and everything else, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, statistics are against us when it comes to seed sampling and testing. Reason being is because, a lot of mumbo jumbo here, but a one lot of grass seed is 55,000 pounds. That's how it's identified. When we test a bag of grass seed, officials, Oregon State University, Oregon Department of Ag, what have you, when they test something, they take a small probe, just say it's the size of your pinky, and they poke a couple holes in a bag, a few different bags there. At that point in time, that small lot, which is typically a 5-gram sample, somebody can do the US version of that if they'd like to. But that 5-gram sample is a representation of that 55,000 pound lot. Now, it's luck of the draw, guys. That's all it is, honestly. We work with quality growers. We work with mediocre growers. We work with growers that fit the bill for all of our facets of our business. However, even the best of the best, most of the time are not perfect. And, we go through stages that you can be the best grower in the world, Olee. And you know what? We'll buy your crop from you. We're going to get it cleaned. Luck of the draw has it. We sample it. We get some annual ryegrass in there. Doesn't meet quality. We'll either re-clean that and go from there, try to get it as clean as possible. But that other crop, speaking, is typically annual ryegrass. I kind of keep it at that, guys, because you can get into a whole different rabbit hole. I like rabbit holes, so that's why I'm going to talk to or hear about Mr. Super TA, what his formulated question is, because I'm seeing Brent up there, his facial expressions. I love it because I can't hide this either. So formulate a proper question.
Where is it?
Well,
I'm somebody that if you got an issue, let's state what the issue is. Let's formulate an actual question and go for it.
You look so happy.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm the type of person that if I buy a bag of grass seed and I feel like I did everything I could to make it grow and it didn't grow, then I'm going to say, all right, well, see you later, guys. Let me go to somebody else. Let me get a different bag of grass seed and try something else out. I don't know. Maybe it's just my personality. I don't have a lot of time for, whining and crying about stuff. And, whatever, if anybody takes umbrage to that, then, whatever, unfollow me. I don't really care. But it's one of the things where, what are we doing here?
I'm not sure.
Soundboard, Olee.
Do.
I got my favorite.
But I think that there's, I think that you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about different growers, right? And there's a whole lot of factors that are going into, what you're saying, Austin, about growing grass seed and about growing any crop. You're going to have different factors on different farms. You're going to have different factors on, different farmers and how all of that stuff is processed. I would assume, I'm no farmer, but it makes sense to me to say that you're going to have, different, I don't know, a percentage of your annual yield, the annual, kind of volume that you sell. And you're going to have some that are going to have weed seed in them. And you're going to have some that don't. And so you're only going to have a finite amount of, super pure,
Yep.
Right. And
I got 3 acres of turf, and keeping it clean's a bitch. I'd hate to see those fields and trying to keep them clean.
absolutely.
Well,
How big is
here's-
a field? Just for a rough idea, how big is a field that y'all harvest?
I mean, it depends on the species, honestly, for seed size wise, because, you can get, a ring. So just irrigation wise, think about corn acres. Okay. And pivots, whatnot. A circle can be 100,000 pounds. It could be 50,000 pounds. So it does vary quite a bit given the species that you have. Okay. So we call them circles. You guys call them in corn country circles as well. So, but at the end of the day, it does vary pretty greatly. Now, one thing I can say, guys, is that when we get dialed in on grass seed tests, where the product's going, what we can end up doing is saying, if that crop, if that product, that mixture, let's say it's tall fescue, for example, if it's got a weed in it that's going to be a summer annual, or a winter annual, something that's not going to affect your market specifically, we tend to go to those markets with that crop. It's not inferior, guys. Here's the thing. Inventory management is key. When you buy grass seed, you're tested. You have an investment in that grass seed. It's your job to sell that product, spread that product, make that product grow so everybody's happy. At the end of the day, it's our job to make sure that we sell that product to our distributors, our big box stores, our homeowners, things like that. Nothing's perfect. So we try to make it as perfect as possible. Looking at those tests, looking at the individual problems, most of the time, the weed content in there, it's nothing that's going to persist. It may be something you could spray out with a broadleaf.
When we have a lot of experience with Barenbrug personnel and the people that are selecting a lot of those lots as well for their blends. So even in like the consumer realm with like Home Depots and stuff, Ace Hardware, all the above. That's kind of part of like where if they do have a question, in that process of manufacturing the blend, getting that ready through our system, they might actually just come to me and say, "Hey, is this weed a problem?" If I do or don't know, I'm researching, I'm looking up, is this other crop going to hinder the turf quality? And that's from a product to the homeowner, to the golf course, sports field, whatever it might be. So yes, sometimes there's going to be, a crop value in there or even a weed seed value, but it's not, I don't know, we're selectively, placing that in areas where it shouldn't be as big of a problem.
And I'm going to say something real quick, guys. He bought it on Amazon. So I buy Apple stuff on Amazon, but it doesn't mean Apple's the one who sold it to me. So, unless he verified it was Barenbrug that sold it to him, it could have been somebody with a Barenbrug bag that threw in some grass seed, you know what I mean, and sent it out to him.
In that specific scenario, because I helped kind of bring up some of that Amazon product stuff for our professional products and that one in particular, that is through us. Again, with germination, it's kind of the same story. We have germination tests on some of these blends for each of the components. None of them look entirely off. Like growing grass can be easy and it could be hard. And sometimes there's things that happen we don't really know about. So even, through Amazon, there's ways to, we want the customers to have a good experience. So if it goes through the right channels and, someone asks for a new bag, that might happen. I do a little probing and try and get down to the bottom of it. But there's ways to get refunds, get a new bag to test it out, especially through that. Amazon is kind of set up to be a little more customer oriented to have a better experience too. So I mean, that's another set of things I deal with too, is the common homeowner who, hey, this did not work. Probe around, maybe I find out, I'm not saying this is the case at all. I don't know. But I have so many scenarios where, I saw the best thing was to water it, 10 times a day for this long. Or like Austin said, that was my example before, is also 3 a.m. once a day. And I find out they're in, Alabama or something, growing a cool season grass in the middle of summer. Like, it's not really, the way to go. Then in those scenarios, I'll kind of come back with, here's what I would do: set up a new product, new solution, timing, and probably, like Austin mentioned, go a little too detailed in the email back. But
soil temps, timing,
Well, yeah, I was going to bring that up. So is the question, why did my bag of seed not grow, guys? Is that it? Is
Yep,
that the question?
that's it.
Okay,
That's what I'm
so
getting.
Yes,
here's
I'm still trying to
here's my
figure that out.
challenge.
I think so.
Well, here's the challenge. A, do you have a soil test? If you do, post it up. Let's talk about it. Okay. B, show us
Hey.
your irrigation. How often did you water? Number
Soil
2, did you
temperatures.
fertilize? What's your fertility? Soil temps, fantastic. Sunlight, shade, are there trees? Listen, please, Mr. Super TA 329, be specific as possible. Because I will say one thing, and I kind of would coincide with Brent, sorry. You kind of get pissed off with vague details because, guys, solution minded, that's what we're about. Now, it's the same thing I'm going to ask a distributor. What'd you spray? Did you spray anything down there? Did your customer spray anything? Why did it not grow? We get pictures all the time, guys. And it's like, prime example, we had a distributor that said, hey, this is some Turf Blue Pro bluegrass product it's a branded product from Barenbrug, fantastic product. Micah's kind of in charge of making sure it's clean product shipped to this distributor. So last year, the field was perfect. This year, there's POA everywhere. We're talking 70% POA. And
Sure.
the guy says, hey, was this in the grass seed? Well, Micah did his homework. He went back, looked at the individual lots, individual tests. There wasn't any POA in that. So then we have conversations about how are you managing this? So Super TA, give us details, call us, email us, talk to the right people. We're happy to help, but we can't help you with why did my grass seed not grow? Sorry if I'm being a little bit too harsh, guys, but this is reality. And
No,
again,
that's good.
nobody has time. So,
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, it kind of goes back to, what we were discussing before. I mean, my question, well, not really so much a question, it's rhetorical, I suppose. But it's like, how hard is it really to produce a bag of grass seed or to produce a crop of grass seed that's, totally, zero weed seed? And in doing so, how much of that supply is really going to reach the end user market on a platform such as Amazon? Anybody that follows my page or we've talked here, like, I'm not beholden to any, specific company, at least, especially in terms of seed. Like, I went out and bought cultivars from, another seed company, and I went to a turf supply store that supplies, seed for the golf course industry, because there was something I wanted to try out. And so I was really kind of, specific in what I got. I didn't just hop on, an internet retailer and say, well, let me go ahead and, find something else. And I don't know what, happened with, this particular instance. And I'm not, please don't get me wrong. Anybody who's, watching, anybody in the chat, you guys at Barenbrug, Super TA, whoever, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to, start an argument or, call anybody out, other than to say, like, let's just get a specifically formulated question. And realistically, again, rhetorically, how hard is it? Like, it's probably pretty hard, in my understanding, at least, to produce a crop that's 0% weed and, be able to bring that to an end user market, in a space where you can go on and say, all right, well, I'm going to buy this on, an internet retailer. Because if you want 0% weed, if you want to go get gold tag grass seed, like, I'm sorry, but I would assume, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding in my short time, my couple of years of taking care of my lawn at this level, is you want to go buy gold tag grass seed, Amazon's probably not the place to do it. Am I wrong in that? I don't know.
And that's well said. That is very, very well said, guys. The thing is that there are country clubs across the United States that they require a 200-gram sample of perennial ryegrass for their overseed needs. Okay, that's the best of the best. Price doesn't matter. I gotta have top quilt. Okay, top shelf. But then when it comes to the homeowners, the normal day-to-day stuff, again, you're going to have crop. You're going to have weed in that. Life's not perfect. We want it to be, but you are correct. There's a very small percentage of gold tag that goes to the end users. Most of it's going to sod farms because they'll pay that buck to ensure that they don't have any quality problems that are going to sod products and to their farms and stuff like that. So, I think you're being realistic because you do the homework. Our competitors have fantastic genetics, just as we do.
But like
There's
you
that's
said,
life.
like
And
you
I
said,
encourage
for it not to germ, there's something wrong. Either something was sprayed that hindered germination, soil temps were off, or watering schedule. But like you say, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said what's been sprayed, because if some kind of herbicide was sprayed, you're not supposed to seed for 28 days, 30 days. Boom.
Yep.
There's
Maybe
your culprit.
M or something. Who knows, man? I mean, we can't really see what he's saying.
Well, if there's a problem, ultimately we want everyone to be happy and that to be a success. We want people investing this much into some of our brands to come out with a good experience. So
the other thing is soil to seed contact.
Yep.
I struggle with that one myself, guys. I overseed probably 2 or 3 times a year, but I don't put it in the soil. I just broadcast the guys.
Austin
I'm lazy.
He takes a seeding rate and he's like, can I quadruple? Can I quintuple that? I'm like, okay, how much can I get by? I'm trying to picture as a homeowner, like I am going the exact seeding rate. I need to get every bang for this buck. It's probably because I'm just
that's another thing. All this
I'm cheap.
on seeding and stuff. I've got all kind of equipment to seed with. I've got cord pluggers, aeravators. I got an aggravator. I've sunk so much money into trying to, but I was standing in a field yesterday getting ready to bush hog, and it's like knee high seed heads everywhere. And I'm looking at this thinking, hey, before we ever came along, this stuff came up, it's seed headed, it fell, the rain popped it, knocked it in the dirt, and then it came back, So it's all, it can go all over the place, like you're saying, as far as the soil to seed. It's a big discussion.
What's your guys' favorite tool? I find mine is the Sunjo dethatcher. Like I've used that at friends, families, houses so much more than my own house. Got him.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, I mentioned this on another episode where, like, for the price point, you can't go wrong with that machine because you'll definitely get your money's worth with that little Sunjo Scarfire dethatcher machine.
Mm-hmm.
I see zero downside to having that thing because I've used it. I've given it to my in-laws. One of my buddies at work has used it like 3 times on his lawn. Like everybody's using it, and my neighbor. So, it gets a lot of use and it's still cranking. This is probably the best $130 I've spent on my lawn.
Well, it's hilarious too, because I actually used it on a coworker's lawn the other day, like less than 1,000 square feet. It busts, like just breaks. I'm like, well, I can't complain. I got a lot of uses out of it. I go on YouTube, to my clique, my people. And there's the neighbor dominator's first video pop up, like, oh, it's probably a belt. I watch this video, like, sure enough, my belt snapped. Like, to show the power of like your guys' videos and what you guys do is awesome.
Well done, Clint. Well done, buddy.
Yes. Like, hey, I give that guy some. Anyway.
All right, let's get this giveaway done.
Yep.
Yeah. Looks like the live chat's back up. So let's.
I don't know what was going on. I got a screen and it shows 100% clear streaming to YouTube on my end. So I know some people got kicked out, it looks like, for a minute, but I'm hoping the replay is smooth because it shows 100% green smooth on my part. So
they're coming back in, and so everybody that kind of stuck around, I think those are the guys that we're going to do this giveaway for, because they've been kicking back and buffering and coming back in and joining the chat. So we've got it all set up here. I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, let's do this.
I don't know where. I want to give a shout out to Nate real quick. Stripe Life. He did this cool video on his giveaway, and he learned how to do a picture So you can do like a logo and stuff. So here on my shared screen here, we got Barenbrug's logo.
Oh,
Ooh.
Damn.
we fancy. Yeah.
Yeah, thought that'd be kind of cool for the wheel of names here. So we got 21 entries. So that's pretty good compared to, we had all those technical difficulties going on. So we got 21 people that all put the correct word in that we were looking for. And so the first spin, what we're going to do for the hat, right? And then the next spin is for the seed.
Oh yeah, that was our secret giveaway too. We were going to give away a little bit of a swag pack kind of situation going on, right?
Yeah, confirm that. So that will be the first spin, is that swag pack. Then we will do another spin. We'll take that person's name out and we'll do another spin for the seed. So
What's the over under on Homestead winning the swag pack?
I don't know, man.
I ain't gonna lie, he was close to lawn of the week. Just gonna be straight up. He was,
yes, indeed.
yeah. Probably shouldn't discuss this, but yeah, Homestead, man, shoo,
Close.
you were a hair away.
All right, so I'm going to do a shuffle. Let's just say, since there's 21, we do 2 + 1 is 3. So we're going to do 3 shuffles. 1, 2, 3. Go full screen. All right, here we go. Swag pack.
Okay.
Jason.
All right.
Jason Troy
Congrats,
is the man.
Jason.
Congrats, Jason Troy. And we'll remove him. And now here's the spin for the seed.
I'll take 500 pounds. See if I can get it to germinate.
We should probably talk offline.
Heyo.
On Radiance.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
Yes, yeah, he's
Another good dude.
Yeah, he's been an
Real
original
good dude.
supporter of ours. So glad to-
Congratulations.
So Jason and Lawn Radiance, you guys can reach out to me on Instagram, or if you find my email somewhere in the link tree or whatever, you can reach out to me and I'll get your contact info and we'll get it sent over to Barenbrug and get your sweet prizes.
Yeah, that'd be best. We have a ton of hats, so I'm not sure the preference of everyone. So the swag winner, we'll probably have a few things to pick from.
There you go. Nice.
Awesome.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
That's
The hats are nice. Thanks, guys.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the hats and the shirts.
Yes,
sure.
For
sir.
having us. It's been
And
a
the coolest koozies in the world too. Those things are sweet.
Those things got some strong magnets, that's for sure.
Listen, we went Micah, myself, Sam, our director of sales, and Neil, my right hand guy. We took a road trip to Moab, Utah, all the way from Oregon over there. We drove it.
Yeah.
I put 2 of those koozies on the outside of a Tahoe we rented, and they lasted the whole time we were there, all the way through, guys. People were just staring at us. They were just driving on the road, just giving us a point. They stick. Take a road trip with them. Take pictures.
You guys are dedicated to field testing there, so I appreciate that.
Yeah. I put a beer. I put a beer in my koozie with the magnet on my mower, and I got a bumpy lawn, and I'm banging over that thing, and yep, I was sipping that all the whole mow.
There you
So
go.
yeah, that works.
Now you got a cup holder on that thing, Zach.
Yep. Actually, I already had one, so now I got 2, which is
There you
good. So
go.
I'm gonna stop.
Awesome.
Hey, great
So-
show tonight, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate Micah and Austin joining us tonight. Great talk tonight.
Yeah, and if anyone else
Appreciate
has,
the opportunity, guys.
if anyone has any direct questions for Barenbrug, just info@Bar USA. Likely it'll come to me or some other turf expert, and that's a good way to get in contact with us for any turf questions, brainstorm things. That's what we're here for, really.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, guys, we really appreciate it. If you're still hanging around, make sure you're subscribed, hitting the bell for next week's show, and hit that like to get us kind of bumped up in in the YouTube world, and maybe we'll be so popular that all these outages won't happen anymore. So we appreciate everybody's support. Micah and Austin, thanks again for being on.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you guys
Appreciate
next
the
week.
time.
Thank you.